The Utah Utes are not in the latest AP Top 25 poll. Alex, I'm okay with it. I think Utah will get back in here. They were just shy of it, 27th. Look, as much as I feel like Utah silenced their doubters saying, hey, we're not last year's team, we're clearly better. They were pretty rough last year. So that doesn't mean automatically like, boom, all of a sudden now you're an AP top 25 team. I think they can get there, but I understand why some people are reserving judgment till Utah does have a chance to play some legitimate teams, that being in Arizona State. And also say this, Alex, I feel like Utah has a really good shot of being ranked because there's more ranked teams that are going to play. Upsets will happen this week when Utah's on a bye, and we could get a top 25 matchup when ASU comes to Salt Lake City. As Alex has his mic muted, I'm going to let you know really quick, my friend.
Apologies for that. No, and I think that would probably be best case scenario for Utah. To be able to welcome Arizona State into your home stadium and make it a top 25 game, because obviously, you're in the top 25, you welcome in a top 25 team, and if you're able to pull off a result, that will, of course, certainly really, really help out your resume. Best case scenario for Utah on a bye week, moving up. Everybody loves to move up when you don't play a game, right? And so this Arizona State team is going to be fun. This Arizona State contest is going to be fun, but I think I'm with you, JT. For now, I think it's okay for Utah to not be ranked in the top 25. I know, there's questions for me when it comes to looking at the top 25 and seeing Virginia in there. I know they just got the big, the big upset win against Florida State this past weekend, but for them to go to essentially receiving no votes to automatically being put in after that win, we can have a conversation there. But I think for the most part, Utah is in a fair spot.
Yeah, and I'm fine with them there. And, as you mentioned too, it's a Virginia team that is 4-1. Like, it's not like they've lit the world on fire. So it's not like, oh, we absolutely need this team to be ranked. I think there are several teams. I like ASU being in there. That's a loss on the road to an SEC team. But I think some of this stuff, like you're mentioning, like, why is a Virginia up here? I mean, and Illinois is fine. I'm good with Illinois back in there because they did back up their win. I still have questions about Michigan, man. I do feel Alex, agree or disagree. I do feel like sometimes some teams get a big brand bump with the AP poll. Like Texas, I've been more impressed by Texas Tech than I have Texas. Texas is ranked higher. Yes. Arch Manning and Steve Sarkisian and what that team did last year, probably the biggest reason why. And when I say Arch, I mean the name Arch, not how he's looked. But I feel like those are the reasons why. Like, I feel like Tech's the best team in Texas right now. Do you feel like we see these name brands get a bump from the AP poll?
Absolutely, and not only does the brand factor into it, but I mean preseason expectations. I feel like for the longest time, Illinois was in the top 10, and then last week they get absolutely blown out by Indiana, and they proved that they're not a top 10 team. But I think they were put in the top 10 because there was all this preseason expectations and all this preseason hype on Illinois about how great Illinois were going to be. And then it turns out once they faced a quality opponent and once they faced a top 25 opponent, right, they couldn't match up. And sometimes it's the brand, and then sometimes it's preseason expectations. Everybody in the preseason thought Arch Manning was going to be the number 1 overall pick, right? There was already all this hype behind Arch Manning, despite very, very limited college football action, college football snaps. Preseason expectations and brand play a big, big part into the AP Top 25 poll, and we see it week in and week out. It's a constant thing. It's a constant conversation. But regardless, Utah's in a good spot.
They are in a good spot. They'll have a chance to move up. I mean, you mentioned Virginia. Virginia is so weird because they lost to NC State. That is not a good loss. NC State just lost to Virginia Tech, who, of course, has already fired their head coach on the season. I'm not saying that Utah's resume is fantastic, but their loss, that Texas Tech team, that coming into if we want to talk about like preseason hype and expectations, and the reason we're valuing teams is because of what we had them as on paper rather than what they put on the field. Shouldn't we recognize that we had a Tech team that had this massive NIL investment, and they're actually looking like they're worthy of that rather than just, overreacting to an upset on a short week, a Friday night. And it feels like there is a lot of overreact. I mean, South Florida dropping out of the rankings, I feel like they were doing it's a G5 team, but despite them having a very impressive resume at the time they were dropped out of the rankings, Alex.
Right. And I mean, for me, the Virginia thing is, you go from not even receiving votes last week to automatically jumping in. It's 100% an overreaction to a big win. I don't want to discredit that big win because it is a big win. And they should absolutely celebrate it. Like Florida State has one of the best offenses in the country at the moment. I believe they're the top scoring offense in the country, period. And it's a big win for that program. However, to go from not receiving votes to automatically jumping up above everybody else who was receiving votes last week, it's wild. It is a little bit of an overreaction to a big win.
It is an overreaction. Like I said, I would love it if Utah was on this list. I think they deserve to be right on there, but I can understand why some of the national media has questions, just like I have a lot of questions about Virginia's placement there too. Alex, when we're talking about the Big 12 right now, I feel like Tech's the best team in the conference. Do we agree on that? Tech's best team in the conference right now?
I agree.
No,
I think there's nothing that's proven otherwise yet.
Yeah, Iowa State can go right there next. They looked really good against an Arizona team that we're still trying to figure out how good that Arizona team is, like Fafita, but it was a big step back in the first year of the Brennan era from where that team was before Jed Fish left. So there's still some questions I have about them. But Iowa State, number 2. I think Utah is the third best team in the Big 12 right now. I'm not saying that they should be ranked over an ASU right now. I get that, and Utah is receiving votes over the likes of a TCU. I really like that TCU team. I do think Utah is better than BYU. We can have that conversation in a moment, but I feel like Utah is the third best team in the Big 12 right now. Based on watching all these teams play, where do you feel like Utah falls in the conference?
I think third or fourth is a good range to put them. Third and fourth are a good place to put him because you have a chance to prove. So right now, for me, in my mind, Utah and Arizona State are neck and neck, right? Just kind of like how the AP poll has them. Texas Tech at the top, Iowa State is that second team, and then Utah and Arizona State are kind of my 3 and 4 right now, and they flip flop in my head back and forth as I think about it. But that's going to be proven out on the fields next week. But I would say Utah's in that range for me.
And the team we didn't mention in there is a BYU team. Alex, I still got huge questions about this BYU team. And I know Utah's resume is not fantastic. I'm not saying it's not, but some of these teams that BYU has gotten to play, Portland State, Stanford, that's one of the worst P4 teams. And I know they beat Boston College, but I still do not think that Stanford team is very good at all. East Carolina. And yes, you find a way to win against Colorado. I am not saying that BYU is a bad Big 12 team. I'm just saying I think Utah will end up being better than the Cougars. I just really think it's hard to win with a true freshman at quarterback, Alex, and I don't think that Colorado team's great. I give BYU credit for finding a way to win up in Boulder. It's good to win conference road games, but I'm more impressed by Utah this week and absolutely blowing out the Mountaineers than a struggling Colorado team, keeping it close with a BYU team that I feel like some people have thrown up there as a true contender. I just don't think you can have such an unknown at the biggest and most important position in the sport and be like, oh yeah, BYU is fine. They're the same team they were last year. I need to see more from Bear in this offense before I say that.
Get the pitchforks out, JT and the fans, because I'm still in the category of BYU as a contender in this conference.
Okay.
I want to give credit to Colorado because, sometimes football games it's a boxing match, right? Sometimes there's punches thrown, and I think Colorado landed 2 really good punches on BYU early. And I give credit to that BYU coaching staff for making the adjustments necessary and for waking up in that second quarter. Yes, it's difficult to win with the true freshman quarterback, but they are 4-0, and I know that they're still there. I'm still waiting for that Texas Tech test for BYU, yes. Right? One of the contenders in the conference to play against this BYU team. They got West Virginia this week, and I think that they'll in front of their fans, I think they'll be able to come away with a win. But I'm very curious to see how they do on the road in Tucson the following week in Arizona. I know we're still, the jury's still out on Arizona, but I think that will be a big test because Tucson, as Utah fans know, it's not a friendly place. It hasn't been a friendly place to the Utes. And so I'm excited for that test. But I do still think that BYU is in the contending range of Big 12 teams. They're still up there for me. I've liked the growth of Bear Bachmeier. And both Utah and BYU right now for me are in that contending range in this conference.
I think that's totally fair. For me, I want to see that stretch I want to see them against a good Big 12 team. And I know I said Utah as well. Like, hey, I'm not saying Utah's played a great Big, they haven't beaten a good Big 12 team because they obviously lost to Texas Tech, but I saw them play right there with a conference contender for 3 quarters, and they shot themselves in the foot sometimes. Texas Tech did too, but I saw Utah right there. I saw them be able to play with a contender. I want to see BYU do that in this conference. So for me, I'm going to wait till that Iowa State game. That's where I want to see that stretch of Iowa State. Texas Tech. We get to find out about BYU there. Utah, Iowa State, Texas. I should just say the Utah game. That's the first one. I backwards that one. So Utah, Iowa State, Tech, TCU. That's the stretch that I'm I'm really excited to see how BYU can do there. They absolutely could be a contender. I love Kalani Sitake. I think overall that defense is nice. I just got to see more from the QB, as I said. That'll be the biggest thing there. But first, today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Guys, I don't know about you, but I love long college football Saturdays, watching NFL football on Sundays, but sometimes I need that extra boost to get me through the day and even the work day at times, right? And that's where I love 5 Hour Energy, because caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are, right? Big taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and get that boost when you need it. I mean, the flavor is fantastic. They got a variety of options to choose from too. You can head over and get your 5 Hour Energy today. Enough with the boring flavors. Flavorless caffeine, throw it out. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love and be bold. Try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com. That's all caps energy, but no all caps for the hour, and the 5 is the number 5 not spelled out. www.5hourenergy.com, or you can head over to Amazon today and pick up your 5 Hour Energy right now.